Right, I hope everyone's well. Today's lesson, we're going to look at drawing water, both rivers, and we'll also do a quick sea one. We'll not do a finished picture today. This is just a few basic skills, a few bits of information to help you with your water. And then once we've done that, I'll do another picture afterwards where we can really put a few different elements together. Right, so let's get my water in. When you draw water, a river for example, I'm going to mark off a few hills and things here, so that's dropping in like so. And I'll have another one just going behind it, and that's going to suggest the water's going to come around. So then if I want my water to come around here, I'm going to allow the water to just meander a little bit. As the water's further away, it will be much thinner. Don't worry too much about it because obviously it will vary as it goes along. And as it gets closer towards me, it'll become much wider. I'm going to change that bit there. It's coming a little bit too much for me. There we go. So thinner back there, wider here. A few things to look at with the water. If I want it to be really, really shallow water, I don't need to do any sort of embankment. If I want it to look like the water's drop down a bit, what I would do is I'd just mark off on the embankments like this. Just to give it a sense of height. Don't make it too neat, I'm just doing this as a really rough example. Obviously the further away you go, the lesser the lines will need to be. And I'd put a few rocks and things in the water as well. Alternately, if you don't want to do it like that, if you want it more gradual, all you need to do, let's put some lines back in. We have it, so that's my water line, and then allow the lines to come up. And the steeper the line, the steeper the embankment, the shallower it would be. Really soft lines, don't overdraw these, and a lot of this will be done with shading. The shading is just as important as the actual line work on something like this. And then I'd put a little bit of texture in, some reeds, some grasses, a few little bushes. And for the bushes, if you've seen the tree video, just the same principle. Another thing to consider with water, excuse me, is how we're going to shade it. If I start shading like this or colouring like this, it's always going to look wrong because I've put vertical lines in. You always need to do it on the horizontal. And don't overly colour. You don't want a big solid block. So if you're using pencil crayons, just a few horizontal lines and leave those little flecks of light in between. And don't have it as one solid colour. You will need to do some blending. Think where it'll be deeper, where it'll be darker, and in the shallows where it'll be lighter, and you might see some of the stones and the rocks and other bits just through the surface. It is very tempting when you start drawing things like this to start trying to draw fish and things in the water. You wouldn't really see them. You might see a slight bit of movement, but if you're going to draw a fish, I'd just draw a fish picture and leave the water to be the main focus. And that's how I would do my water. Now, I talked about the vertical lines. If you do want vertical lines, I'll throw some in here actually. What we'll do, the only time you're going to get a vertical line is if you've got an actual waterfall. So I'm going to draw some rocks there. So the water would be cascading down this point, and here you'd have the waterfall. And make it a little bit foamy at the base. A few little features around it. So the only time you're going to put those vertical lines in is like that. The rest of the time, keep it horizontal. nice soft wavy lines don't make it too uniform. It's a gradual progression. If it's a really fast flowing river, it would have forced a much straighter line through the water. This is a nice meandering stream, smaller river. The faster the flow, the straighter the river would be. Okay, we'll leave that there and we'll look at some other bits later.